Hello everyone, welcome back to Smaugust Part 2. I'm just gonna jump right into it and say that I did not finish Smaugust. I didn't expect myself to. I got to day 15 and I ended on a good place, and I think it was just getting to be too much. So before I just start rambling, I'm gonna just say that this is prompt 8 and it's old. So I only made it to day 15 of Smaugust, or prompt 15 of Smaugust, and I think that's okay. I didn't want to hold myself too strictly to finishing it, because 31 dragons and being closer to full finished pieces is a lot of work to do. I'm really happy with how many dragons I got done, and I think I ended up with some cool paintings. So for this prompt, I didn't have a clear direction of where I wanted to go. It's nothing really exciting. It's just an old dragon with probably his daughter and his grandkids sitting on a hilltop. I just thought it would be nice to have a really peaceful piece, and I think it's just really light and happy. I do feel like this painting took a lot longer than it should have, considering the end result, but I think that's just how it is sometimes. You can't expect every painting to go perfectly smoothly, and considering that I was drawing several different characters on the same painting, that always takes a little longer, and I should have budgeted for that, but that's okay. So my next prompt was insect. So after some thinking about it throughout the day, I ended up choosing a moth, since I'm currently trying to design a moth creature for another animation I want to do. I figured, why not take the time to get familiar with a moth for this prompt while also practicing for that creature that I wanted to design. I just thought that was a better way to use my time, since I was already having to create this moth creature for an animation, that I'd just use it for Smaugust as well. That being said, this moth dragon is not the creature design for my animation, just so that everyone's aware. It's going to look a lot different. I just wanted to use this opportunity to get familiar with moth wings and anatomy, and just getting moth features across without actually drawing a moth. I actually really liked the way this one turned out. I really wish I had the time to take it to a full finished painting. I probably won't go back to it, just because it's done now and I'm not really the type to go back to paintings. But maybe one day I will try it again. I like the lighting and the composition of this painting. I like the kind of cool light coming from the top left, and then the warm light of the little bit of fire that he's breathing out. I think it creates an interesting contrast. Prompt 10 was s'mores. Okay, yes, before anybody says anything, I know I didn't draw s'mores, I just drew marshmallows. I didn't really put a lot of effort into this one, if I'm being completely honest. I was so done with Smaugust this day, and honestly, I probably should have done more simple drawings like this one instead of the full paintings, because then I could have put more thought into how I want the dragons to look. So, because I couldn't really come up with any interesting ideas, it's just a chunky dragon roasting a marshmallow. Okay, prompt 11. I was so excited for this prompt when I put it on the list, but then when the actual day came around, I almost skipped it. I'm so glad I didn't, because I love this painting. I definitely felt a little bit more like myself while I was painting this one. It was more in my preferred style, and I had a lot of fun with it, and it came together really quickly. And honestly, it wasn't all that difficult. I didn't have a lot of hard decisions to make. Honestly, the hardest decision probably was just sketching it and trying to figure out how to make the wave still look like a wave, but also kind of give an homage to dragon wings. So yeah, I really like this one. I was nervous about it because lighting through water I find very difficult, but it went really smoothly, and I'm really excited for this one. I think I might want to get it printed just for myself. Okay, prompt 12 was empty. I have less time to paint on the weekends, and that's where this prompt fell on. So I didn't really have much time to think of a real idea. I was originally going to go with the more emotional side of the word empty, but honestly, I just kind of rushed through it, and I didn't really know how I was going to portray that in a short amount of time. So I made this little red dragon who was expecting to find some treasure in a chest and was very disappointed to find it empty. I think it turned out cute enough. I had fun drawing a dragon that didn't have wings. So prompt 13 was deer. I had such high hopes for this painting. I was so sad that it didn't work out. I love deer. It doesn't look like a dragon at all. It lost so many of its dragon's features throughout tweaking the sketches, and I somehow didn't really notice or know how to put them back. I think one of the main reasons for this is I gave it feathered wings. I wanted it to have a more soft, gentle look, and so I thought the feathered wings would be better for that kind of mood. But I think after adding the feathered wings, it just looked more like a random creature design and not like a dragon at all. I don't think it helped that it doesn't really have any sort of lizard-like characteristics. It has a couple spikes, and it has more paw-like feet, so I guess those could be dragon-like characteristics, but beyond that, it just kind of looks like a deer wolf bird? I don't know. At least I ended up trying a different lighting angle and color palette, even if the prompt didn't turn out how I'd like it to. And prompt 14, owl. So learning from the last prompt's mistakes with the feathered wings, I chose to give this dragon more dragon-like wings, because that would make more sense. But I didn't do the classic sort of dragon-like wings. I wanted them to still resemble an owl's wings. So an owl's feathers don't fray out the same way other birds do. They all kind of hug close together even when it's on a downward stroke. And here, I'll put a picture up so it makes more sense. So I wanted to give this dragon lots of ribs in its wings, kind of to represent feathers, but they're not feathers, and they're all close and stuck together, kind of like how an owl's wings appear, even though they are still layered feathers. So kind of think more of a fish fin. It's one unified shape, but it's got lots of ribs in it to give it that singular shape. I don't think I'm in love with the way the face turned out. I think I could have spent a little more time designing it better. And, the lighting I feel like is a little cheesy. But I do like the way the light passes through the wings. I think that was one thing that I did well on this painting. And I'm glad I added the clouds in the background, because if I didn't add the clouds, I feel like it would look even cheesier with just like the most basic sunset in the background. It was a little too saturated after I finished the painting, but I think all in all it turned out pretty well compared to some of the other ones. For our 15th and final prompt, it was precious. I could not help it. It was too perfect. I had to do Smaug carrying the Ring of Power. This is also why I decided that this was my last Smaugust prompt, because it seemed like a good place to stop. I feel like stopping Smaugust after painting the dragon the month is named after was just a good place to end it. I wanted to end Smaugust on a high note, and I think that this piece really does that. I love the way it turns out. I'm very happy with the dragon. I think it does resemble Smaug fairly well. I know the ring is not that big because Smaug is huge, but I wanted you to be able to see it, so I know that's not accurate. I think the lighting in this one is very moody, and I had a lot of fun painting all the scales and all the light on the dragon. I think it ended up looking really neat. And I definitely felt like this prompt I was able to get into my usual painting flow. It felt like more how I usually paint, compared to a lot of the prompts that I've been doing this month. I think that probably this prompt Precious and prompt 11 Wave are the two paintings that I think really represent the way that I'd like to go forward in my art. I hope some of you decided to at least participate in Smaugust a little bit. You don't have to do the whole thing. I think it's a good exercise because, like, Inktober, you have the restrictions of the prompts, but whereas Smaugust, you have the restrictions of having to draw a dragon and the prompt, so it's even more restricted, which I think is a good thing for art. I feel like having restrictions can make you more creative. And even my husband did it, and he doesn't even like drawing, so anybody can do it. And his drawings are, well. Alright, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. Unique. Alright, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll